George Lucas stops making movies 2005, and a bunch of years pass, and then in 2012 he sells it to Disney. And then they immediately start making number 7, and they plan number 8 and 9. I don't want to be the kind of guy who says, I saw this coming, but I saw this coming. I saw this coming. When number 7 came out, I knew it was going to be shit, because I knew that they were just doing what I'd seen Marvel movies and blockbusters do for ages, which was just do what had already been done again. Like, their philosophy going into that movie was, I think it was pretty well summed up by, like, there's like one scene in the movie where they show like the original Death Star from number 4. They're like, because there's like a new Death Star, right, in number 7. So they like have like a hologram thing where they're like, this is the original Death Star and this is the new one. And it's like just the same one, but like way bigger. And that's, I think, what they tried to do in number 7. They're like, number 7, this is like number 4, but way to the nth extreme. And it was just like, they had a new R2-D2, they had a new Darth Vader. Okay, they made him a little different because this one takes his mask off from time to time.
I can't breathe in this thing!
They had a new Emperor Palpatine, they had a new kind of like Luke, and of course they made it all diverse, put a bunch of different ethnicities in there to make it all, you know, politically correct. And as soon as I started sniffing all of these signs, I was just like, this is going to be a load of shit, because it's just another one of these movies that's made by like a committee of executives. It's not made by like really creative people who care about like the franchise. Like I don't know much about this Dave Filoni, but that's how he sounds to me. If they just let him do it, or if they'd actually just like used the scripts that George Lucas gave them, then it would have been great, probably. But they had to throw them all out and did this thing where they appealed to the broad audience. And I knew it was going to be shit. And that's like around that time was when I knew that the critics, because it got such a high score on Rotten Tomatoes, like 96%. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like everyone's just like jumping on the bandwagon. It was around that time that I started to realize that Rotten Tomatoes and the critic scores mean absolutely nothing, because the critics just kind of like echo chamber off each other. Like, they're like, okay, what's the thing to think about this movie? Oh, it's good. Okay, yeah, it's good. Because not many critics really, a lot of them don't really have the ability, I think, to, I mean, you're going to have a lot of mediocre critics, right? Some of them will be good, just like with any profession. Some will be mediocre and some will be bad. And everyone just fell for this trick, gave the movie a good rating. And slowly over time, I think the more that the Disney made Star Wars movies, people just slowly realize, okay, it's shit.
Shit.
But I left that movie with my friends, that number 7, and I said to them I hated it, and they were like, oh no, it's great. Yeah, like everyone thought that at that time, and I was the only one I knew who didn't think that. I was the only one who said, yeah, that was shit. I hated what they'd done to it. And I didn't watch number 8. I didn't watch number 9. I didn't watch any of the other ones because I knew they would be shit. And I was right. Like, and I'll say one thing. I do think that there was one movie after number 7 that I watched, which was Rogue One. So that came out the year later. And I actually think that Rogue One was, I mean, I don't remember loving it, but I thought it was all right. It was a nice little spin-off, like fan movie, basically, of Star Wars. They didn't make too bad of a job of that. And obviously it was super epic, the scene at the end where Darth Vader comes, and it didn't make so much sense, because if you watch number 4, like Rogue One is supposed to go between number 3 and number 4, and like just before number 4. So Darth Vader comes in at the end of Rogue One, and the rebels are escaping with the plans to the Death Star, and they escape on their ship. And then at the start of number 4, they break into the ship that they've just escaped from at the end of Rogue One. And it doesn't really make any sense, because they try to lie and say, oh, we're on a diplomatic mission. But Darth Vader has just seen their ship in Rogue One. So if Rogue One were a little bit more clever, they could have, you know, maybe respected it a little bit more and made it make a little bit more sense. I mean, Star Wars is not always known for making things make sense between the movies, even with the original ones where George Lucas sort of like changed his mind about a bunch of stuff. So the second 3 are not exactly logically in sync with the first three. Like Leia can remember her real mother, even though it turns out in number 3 she never knew her real mother because her real mother died when in childbirth.
I don't remember this.
Yeah. And so in number 6, Luke's like to Leia, what was your real mother like? Like not your adoptive mother, your real mother. And Leia has some memories of her being really sad. There's no way Leia could have remembered her real mother because in number 3, she's a baby. So there are like obviously those kind of things that happen, which is obviously fine. Well, I mean, you accept it. You accept that someone like George Lucas can sort of change his mind over so many years. But I think you'd have a little bit of a higher bar for someone who's going to make like a fan movie. That's what I essentially consider Rogue One, like a really good fan movie. And then I just consider like 7, 8, and 9 to be just a big shit taken by Disney, by the executives. Yeah, like I never really trusted them ever to pay for Disney Plus or watch any of the new movies, except when you told me about Kenobi, and that you were like really into Kenobi, and Obi-Wan was always my favorite character from when I was like a kid. So I watched not all of Kenobi, but like a lot of it, and I watched all like the important moments, and there were some cool moments.